So the darker areas are going to be where these folds are and where one area overlaps another. I'm going to start with this one here. And again, just like the colored pencils, you want to make sure that your pencils are sharpened. And I'm going to come along this line here and just make sure that's nice and dark. And this is one of my darker areas because this, I don't know if you can see it, is folding over. So it's going to be darkest back here. And use my blending stump.
Start back in the back, start blending in, and you can kind of mask those lines a little bit if you have any.
And I'm actually going to use just what's on my blending stump and blend this out. Going in, I'm thinking about the direction of the turn here, the ribbon. Now I need a little bit of a transition value right in here. And because we blended it, we took some graphite away from this area. So I'm going to go back in and darken that up. I also have my original guideline right here that I want to erase. And I don't want that to be a hard line either, so I'm going to use my blending stump. I'm not going to take it right to the edge, just really softly kind of give it a little bit of a blend. And again, right now, right here, we have a turn. There's no need to outline it, but it's going to look like I'm going to outline it. I'm actually going to turn it upside down. And because this is so dark in here, I'm going to come in with my 6B. Now this is going to go from dark to light, dark over here. So I'm using my blending stump and I'm going to actually turn it so I have less graphite on it just to blend out that top section. If you have too much graphite on here, you can take a scrap piece of paper and just rub it. Now, even though you think, oh, I want this all light, not really. We need to have a little bit of shading because it's going to start to bend over here, but not as dark as what we're going to put right here. So I'm going to take, and again, I'm using the side of my pencil. I'm holding my pencil at the tip so it's nice and light. I'm going to come in with my blending stump. I'm going to go across first so I get a nice clean edge. And voila. Now, if you really want to get fancy, you can take one of these small erasers and add a highlight along the edge. It's going to, even though they're really tiny erasers, it's still going to erase too much. You can do the same thing over here. There's always a little bit of a highlight along the edge of things. I'm going to continue this because I think that will work. And I want to come back in because I lost some definition here. Now, I don't have a mechanical pencil on me, but you can use mechanical pencils to create nice thin lines. And I just want to come back in. I'm using that small eraser. To clean everything up. Now, even though this feels like this disappears over in here a little bit, your eye is going to fill that in. There's no need to go back in and add an outline. In reality, things in life do not have outlines. So try and resist outlining things. Now, in saying that, it's going to look like I'm going to outline this, but here's where one ribbon overlaps another. I'm going to come in with my 6B. And what I'm doing right now is not necessarily outlining, it's creating an edge. And then I'm going to fill that value in. And then I want to come in with my HB, give just a little bit of shading over here. And I can even leave like a little line there. All right, so now we don't have a lot of depth to this piece, but you know, say like in here, 2 ribbons are overlapping this section. So overall, this is going to be fairly dark. I might just come in here with a 6B and I created that edge, kind of came in, and I'm not going to worry about it being overly dark. Okay, I wanted to push back because it's behind 3 ribbons. It's kind of almost in the background. I do that again here and here. And I don't need to make this one as dark because this one's over top of this. that cast or drop shadow, but I do want to make this one a little bit darker. And besides, this one's on top of this one, that's on top of this one, so you get it. I don't need to go crazy. Let's see what this looks like. And it looks like I need some transitional value. And I'm going to come in with my 2B. I'm going to make this fairly dark over here. You can kind of play around with the value. Feel like it needs pushed back, push it back. And likewise over here. And even though the Sharpie's here, I'm just going to clean this up because the graphite does give a little bit of a glare. There's a little area. And this is going to be a darker area too because it's so far down. The further away things get, the darker they're going to, or yeah, the darker, a lot of times they're going to appear. So this area would be darker. So here I have like a little twist. Which would be darker, and I'm just using a 4B right now. You'll hear me say, and other art teachers say, it's always easier to get darker than it is later. This is an example where it just gets very inconsistent when you have to go back and erase in to make an area lighter. So I'm going to come back in, just give a little bit of shading to this. Fill in those splotchy areas. All right, and so again, I'm going to be a little extra and add a nice little highlight in here. Boom.